The work of Fe y Alegría, whether it's a new school or if it's a place that I've been to numerous times, is so compelling because of how clearly visible the individual staff person's dedication and passion to the children, to providing a quality education, a values-based education, really to transform society's inequalities.
So my first impression was that this is so, making this work with practically nothing in a way that actually reaches people.
It really struck me that they have a sense of what this is and why it's important, and the continuation of a very rich culture.
The ability to see the reductions, the Jesuit reductions, we had the opportunity to see them, and that was something we've studied in the history of the Society of Jesus, so to be able to see them firsthand was really a great experience.
I had heard about the program, I had heard about their efforts, but to see it firsthand is infinitely more impactful.
The whole experience was overwhelming in terms of how wonderfully successful and how much they embodied, if you will, entrepreneurship.
Everywhere we went, the people were just welcoming and so warm. We would just go into a school or into a community, and the people would be hugs and kisses, and they were preparing feast for us.
I'll be honest with you, in some cases it was almost embarrassing to be received like we were visiting royalty, because that's how it felt.
There's an expression that we were treated like kings. I think we were actually treated better than kings while we were down there. We were treated like old friends.
It was another thing that, made me really stand back and think, what a nice way to treat people, to treat really strangers, which was what we were, but certainly we're never made to feel that way. It was always like we were part of their family.
I'm very impressed with the program, how committed it is to making this a truly relational exchange. I think it's wonderful that we work to bring up representatives from Fe y Alegría Bolivia here to St. Joseph's.
I guess I was most struck by the fact that in the United States we're very proud of our 28 Jesuit colleges, and we're very connected to those. And when I realized that in Bolivia alone there were 450 Jesuit works, there are 900 in all of South America, I began to think about how young our country is and how deeply entrenched the Jesuits are in South America, and what a worldwide network I am part of.
We think of, these people, this is the poorest country in Latin America, I think. That's not what they want our takeaway to be. They want to share. They share with us the best they have. They don't want us to think of them as poor. They want to think of them as welcoming.
The experience in San Javier, when we saw the choral and violin group, again a group of their high school students who performed Baroque music along the lines of the music that's heard in the score of the movie The Mission.
In 12-part harmony, it had such vitality, and that gave me a whole new outlook on the whole dignity of this people, which is, it's really not a third world country. It's much older than we are, and culturally much richer than we are, and they're much more aware of their cultural heritage.
I was so stunned at how happy everybody was. I think Westerners, Americans in particular, have this idea that the rest of the world's in poverty and they're all miserable. We always say this phrase, solidarity with the poor, and I never really knew what that meant. And I think after being on that trip, what it means is that you just go and be with people.
And you saw exactly what they meant by grassroots, by holistic movement. It's a movement because the community is completely involved. So you spend time with the children and the families of the children, and you see that there's a complete involvement of these indigenous families, with their children's development and education. And I walked away with a huge respect, for the Ignatian vision, essentially.
When I came home, it sort of made me take a look at my own life and how, do we really need so much, and could we really do with less?
My first impression was how ingenious.
Mantra of a great entrepreneur is never give up, never give up, never give up. We know many entrepreneurs fail the first few times. and they truly never give up. Teachers who were then going out on bicycles or motorbikes and gathering the people at these rural villages or centers, I won't even call it a village, where they would listen to the radio.
That was just a brilliant way of, teaching those who were the kind of the poorest of the poor, those who were working all day, and yet the number of people they were reaching and the number of people they were educating was phenomenal.
You see a teacher teaching in sign language, then slipping into Quechua, then slipping into Spanish, completely trilingual, if you will, because of the sign language. So that really impressed me, certainly.
The importance of the people with means to teach.
To help young adults receive both an education that was intellectual and practical.
Without all the bells and whistles of the technology that we think of here in the United States, with something as simple as the radio, they were able to accomplish so much in terms of keeping students continuing their education and having success with them completing the equivalent of a GED. So.
Their commitment, there was certainly a great commitment, and their ability to do the lay Jesuit collaboration. I think we talk a lot about that here in the United States and certainly here at the university. I think they not only talk about it, but they put it into practice.
You see the work they're doing. You see, truthfully, the faith and the joy in what they're doing. The Fe y Alegría.
When the mind is impacted by direct experience, the heart may be challenged to change. And I was changing because I was living something that was hard to describe.
To be welcomed with such generosity. They had drinks for us, they had food for us, they sang for us, they had presentation. That's the generosity that I've witnessed in all of the Fe y Alegría schools, staff, from very rural to urban areas to the national staff. It is one of great hospitality, one of great generosity, and one of welcomeness.
We're really proud to be associated with them. So thanks a lot.
The trip will stay with me for the rest of my life in ways big and small. I have one of the little textiles hanging on my side of the bed, in fact, in my bedroom right now. I see it every morning and I see it every night before I go to bed. Thank you is not enough. Gracias. Dios los bendiga.
Más de mil gracias. We're incredibly grateful for the gracious hospitality that they've always provided and the incredible generosity.
Bendiciones de Jesús y la Iglesia del Padre y la Sofía del Espíritu Santo a ustedes, porque ustedes son una bendición para todo el mundo. Gracias a ustedes.